Electricity and Energy Minister Kgosientsho Ramokgopa says the latest rolling blackouts are necessary to manage limited generation capacity and ensure continued power supply. He provided an update to the media this morning on the status of the country's electricity generation performance. He added that the delay in the return of several units from planned maintenance has caused this setback. And he says these delays, coupled with an unplanned capacity loss, has temporarily exceeded 13,000 megawatts. Ramokgopa apologized to South Africans for Eskom not living up to its promise of keeping the lights on. Eskom will continue to implement Stage 2 rolling blackouts during evening peak periods.
Planned maintenance at an all-time high. Because as I've made the point previously, even during the height of load shedding, was that we are going to experience short-term pain for long-term gain. We needed to deploy the resources that we received from the Minister of Finance, in total over a 3-year cycle, 252 billion rands. A significant proportion of that we have invested in the replenishing and the refurbishing of our generation units so that we can have the benefit of uninterrupted power supply. And the winter outlooks also made the point when we presented last week was that we are going to bring down planned maintenance from the highs of about 7,500, even touching 8,000 megawatts of planned maintenance. We'll bring it down. And when we enter this almost the third week of May, we are going to bring it down to below 5,000. So that's what part of the assumptions. So the reason why we are here today is primarily because that promise of making sure that that planned maintenance comes down to below 5,000, we have not been able to fulfill it. So essentially, we have experienced what in technical terms we call outage slips. So of course, in this instance, those outage slips, they amount to about 3,100 megawatts. So we had said that when we enter this winter period, we would have brought down that planned maintenance, and in this instance, by 3,100 megawatts, and those units have not come back.
Eskom CEO Dan Marokwane says the current Stage 2 load shedding is due to the escalation of unplanned capacity loss, amongst other things. He says Eskom is working hard to avoid repeating the mistakes of the past. He adds that Eskom's planned maintenance needs to be tapered down. The intention is to have planned maintenance below 5,000 megawatts and to move gradually towards 4,000 megawatts by mid-May.
For now, we will continue with the load shedding as communicated yesterday. We'll do the 6-hour bouts between 4 and 10 p.m., the 6-hour slots to manage the evening peak at Stage 2. Our teams will, of course, assess the situation every day at midday, and today at midday, the same exercise will be undertaken to assess where we are and how the evening looks like. And tomorrow we'll do the same and provide updates to yourselves appropriately. As indicated, the work with deepening planning capabilities and collaboration with the OEMs is underway. We have identified some of the OEMs that we have had MOUs with before, that have really brought some insights that are helpful in terms of accelerating the pace and shortening the time it takes to resolve some of our challenges related to material, but also to technical skills in our stations. And that work Becky has been doing. We have also started engaging with our counterparts in some of our local OEMs. We need to address the issue of skills across the spectrum. It's skills within Eskom that we have started dealing with as part of the generation recovery plan. We have to also address skills within our main contractors, particularly in the areas of welding, which impact schedules as we go through outage execution.
Well, Electricity and Energy Minister Kgosientsho Ramokgopa briefed the media on the status of South Africa's electricity generation performance in Pretoria earlier. This after Eskom's announcement that it would implement stage 2 load shedding during evening peak periods. Joining me now in studio is SABC News Katlego Legodi, who was at the briefing. What went down?
Good afternoon, Juliet, and of course to our viewers at home. The Minister really just bring us into confidence in terms of where we find ourselves, especially a week after we saw them call us and give us a sense of how winter is going to go. You know very well that winter becomes a very, demanding period where Eskom is concerned, and we see them saying that for them to prepare for winter, they had to ramp up maintenance, and this maintenance would see various of these units taken offline so they can actually be checked, and they can be refurbished and be attended to in terms of ensuring that there's stability when winter hits. So we see the Minister giving us a sense of Eskom power stations not being able to meet those timelines in terms of the units getting back online, attributing this to various of the issues that are underway at various of these power stations. But he's saying that they are looking at ensuring that they maintain that winter outlook, as he says that they are going into winter with no or less load shedding in terms of those stages. I think at most they had tipped it to stage 2 of load shedding, which is where we find ourselves now. And this is very important for him to bring us into confidence, Juliet, is because it was in the 2023 budget when we saw Treasury come through with a guarantee, a 252 billion rand guarantee for Eskom to really get its house in order. Some of that money has gone into maintenance, high maintenance, where some of these power stations are concerned. You know very well that most of them had reached their threshold, their life, and they were now looking at ensuring that they resuscitate them and they keep them onto the grid. So he's saying that most of this money has gone into maintenance. They now need to start getting the results of those maintenance. Hence, they were so confident that come winter would find ourselves with no load shedding or at most stage 2.
I think the most important thing here for me, and you've touched on that, taking us into their confidence. I think what annoys consumers immensely is just this knee-jerk reaction, load shedding, power stage 4, here we go. And yesterday at least we got a bit of warning saying, okay, from tonight, we're going to have a bit of load shedding, stage 2, until Thursday night, 10 p.m. So for me, and I think I speak on behalf of consumers at large, knowing what is upcoming and being able to plan is where we're at. And we don't mind that. It's the lastminute.com situation that I think annoys and frustrates and irritates consumers. So now they've done what they've done this week, and as you say, taken us into their confidence, and then during winter, and they've committed to up to stage 2, and we can prepare for that.
Yeah.
Do you think we can hold them accountable? Do you think they'll get that right?
So one of the things that the Minister said was that they're starting to see a lot of work being done at some of these power stations that were problematic power stations. At Kgosientsho, there was a fire at some point. So most of these units are starting to come back online. So we see Kubek as well, Unit 2 will come back online. Kgosientsho Unit 2 will come back online. There's Medupi, they're synchronizing there as well. So he's saying that most of these activities will give us megawatts, 800 from each of these power stations. So they're expecting that at least as we go into winter, we won't see the megawatts just tipping or topping the 3,000 threshold. That is what they've pitted it down to. But most of the issues that are playing themselves out now is because we've seen these outages pushed up to 5,000 megawatts, which is why they're saying we need now to implement stage 2 of load shedding. And this would be at least in the evening peak when there's not much activity in the day, where people would say that they're disrupted. And you're right to say that most of the people, businesses, there's a lot of uncertainty, and this uncertainty flows from even the times of stage 6 of load shedding when it would be implemented. A lot of companies counting losses from there, most of them having put alternatives in place, but you'll still need time to charge those batteries, to fill up some of those generators. So, they had really seen people come down on them as Eskom to say that we need you to at least prepare us on time. But the Minister saying that Here we are dealing with somewhat of an engineering issue. Some of these warnings don't come through from the power stations. You don't get a warning yourself that the unit is going to break down unless if it was a planned maintenance that then would see them taking accountability for. This time around, this was through planned maintenance. Hence, we see this unit's expectations were that they were supposed to come back online, but they did not come back online. Hence, we see them implementing load shedding. But it's saying as we go into mid-May, we'll start to see some of these issues, playing themselves out. Some of these power stations is going back to the power stations to speak to general managers. Something that was notable as well, Juliet, from the press briefing was the original equipment manufacturers. So at these power stations, we have OEMs that Eskom has been working with. This would be, those that manufacture parts, those that deal with some of these equipments that would be needed at these power stations.
Yes.
They have been having challenges with this original equipment manufacturers. He's saying that they need to go back and look at the timelines, the commitment, the agreements that they had gotten into, and just an understanding of why then they're not able to deliver for these power stations, so these power stations can function optimally and this unit then would come back up.
That's an interesting topic of discussion. I think we should look into that further. We've got more time, so definitely put that in the diary. That's quite interesting. Thank you so much for chatting to us there. That was SABC News Katlego Legodi chatting to us on the load shedding situation.